It's going to be a finding American moment when President Obama takes the podium tomorrow. But here's the thing. I did a lot of homework today. Over the last 50 years since 1963, since Martin Luther King's speech, you know, right now, let's see where we are in the black community, in socioeconomics within the black community. Blacks are 6 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites in federal prisons. 25.8% of African Americans live below the poverty line, more than double the white population. If you're African American, you're 6 times more likely to be a victim of homicide in America. Under President Obama's 4.5 or 5 years so far, youth unemployment among African Americans went from 34.5% to 41.5%, much worse. Food stamps participation off the charts. And a recent study by the New York Times shows that incomes of black families have declined almost 11%. The point is this. Bill O'Reilly, a long time ago, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, said that it's the decline in the black American family that's to blame, and he's right. 72% of American babies born to African American babies are born to non-wed mothers. But you can't point at education. There are more blacks by percentage with high school diplomas than whites in America. So we're pointing at education. I think Bill's right about the family part, but not the education part.
I don't know where to begin after listening to all this. First of all, Greg, one of the things about why we pay attention to the voter registration ID is because there's a bunch of crackers in the South who are trying to take the right.
That's your problem, Bob.
I didn't interrupt you when you were going through your rap. No, I didn't. I stopped right away. If you think for a second that I'm going to trust somebody in Texas, in these counties in Texas.
It's not the 60s anymore, Bob. Wake up.
Time out. Can you do me a huge favor? Just do
do me a favor. Shut up. Let me get through here.
I'll shut up if you take back the cracker comment. You didn't really mean that. I know you didn't mean it. I know you maybe not even understand what that means. Just take back that part of it and then finish your rant.
All right, can I answer that?
Yes.
Call them creepy crackers.
In the counties, in certain parts of Texas and North Carolina, where these new voting ID laws will disenfranchise blacks, they are crackers.
Why are majority blacks
out on this?
I know, but I didn't say everybody in the South is a cracker. I said people in some of these counties.
Well, you just shouldn't even use that term to begin with. How about that?
Okay, let me ask you this, Bob. Is anybody who's for voter ID a cracker? Is anybody?
What do you mean for voter ID?
For having a voter ID. Are they crackers? Because that makes a lot of black people crackers.
Yeah.
No, what I've said is when the Supreme Court made this decision.
I can't believe we're saying that word over and over again.
I'm not
it's you know.
What is so offensive about that word?
It's offensive like the N-word, Bob. I'm trying to give you an out here.
You're trying to give me an you're trying to give me an out.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, nobody expects me to say it.
Bob, let me try and save Bob. Let me.
Don't try to save me.
No, I'm going to try and save you.
This subject particularly.
I'm going to try and save you because I want to get you on a more important issue. Okay. Bob Woodson, the head of the Center for the Neighborhood Enterprises, has said that the Democratic Party has foregone issues, the most important issues. Black unemployment. Eric listed all the stats. Do you, Bob Beckel, think the most important issue is the Voting Rights Act, not any of the things that Bolling ticked off?
There would not have been an opportunity for blacks to get the kind of employment that they did have, the education they had it not been for the Voting Rights Act.
They don't have that employment today, Bob.
And with what Eric just gave you, if you look at virtually any demographic group in this country, they're doing worse in terms of economics over the last 10 years. Now, the question is, do you believe that blacks in this country are worse off than they were when Martin Luther King gave that speech? The answer to that is no.
1 out of 4 African Americans, according to a new Pew Research poll, believes that they are worse off, Bob. That is coming right from the black community. So my question to you is, Bob Woodson goes on to say gays and immigrants have been put before the black community. The Congressional Black Caucus has said the same thing. Cornel West had said the same thing. Will you, Bob Beckel, say the same thing?
I think it's, in and of itself, it doesn't make any sense as a statement. That's number one. Number two, look, everybody's got a constituency. Gays have a constituency. Other people have a constituency. They argue for legislation and for things to protect themselves. Now, what I don't need is a constituency here, although you're all friends of mine, I know you love me, and you're trying to protect me because I made a statement about that. And I'm going to continue to say this. I know this issue quite well, I think. And my dad, as you know, worked in this movement and was there the day Dr. King gave that speech. And if you believe that without voter registration, and any impediment to voting by blacks is a substantial foundation for black success in this country.
All right, Bob, you're acting as though people are trying to stop a voter registration. Right. They're not. They're talking about giving out free IDs, which a majority of blacks polled are for. The assumption that a free ID is somehow a hurdle by the left for blacks is actually as racist as you can get, because you're assuming that a black person doesn't have the means or the mentality to get an ID. To me, that's more bigoted than anything.
Wait a minute. First of all, if you take the state of Texas, there are counties in the state of Texas, in order to register and vote, you have to cross over to 3 other counties to get there.
They will also help you get the ID.
No, they have transportation to get the ID.
Wait a second.
In counties in Texas.
Do you really believe that the legislature in Texas?
That's not an argument when you ask us if we believe.
Wait
I don't think it's too much to ask somebody to have valid ID to prove who they are, so that we can have honest and fair elections.
Look, why don't you stop ganging up at one time?
Bob, but you have to equip yourself with the facts, because
the facts are pretty simple. The facts are pretty simple. In North Carolina and Texas.
The Supreme Court doesn't agree with your facts, Bob.
Wait a second.
The Supreme Court said that your facts are out of date.
Who said that?
The Supreme Court.
Remember them?
Yeah. Well, first of all, this Supreme Court's out of date to begin with, and it is.
You didn't say that when they came down with that, with a couple of the rulings that you celebrated.
That's the only one I like. The rest of them I think are dog.
Oh, okay.